very harmful to him. Very harmful to him. So he's afraid of what the House can do. He has as much as said it without using those explicit words. He said it. He has said it. He said that they will find some reason to impeach me. Find some reason. Mr. President, it's easy to find the reasons because you've given them to us. Venezuela is a reason. We don't have to look very far or very hard to find the reason. It's right before our eyes. The reasons are there. It's not about whether we can find the reasons. The question is whether we can find the will. It's the will. Do we have the willpower to do what should be done? And I'm talking about bipartisan effort. It should be bipartisan. But if it can't be bipartisan, that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to stop this reckless, ruthless president. If the Senate can go forward, knowing the rules and how things are likely to play out, if we could pass legislation here just yesterday that I supported, going over to the Senate, good likelihood that their behavior is not going to be acceptable to me. If we can do this, we can also do the same thing with the one thing that can stop a reckless, ruthless, outlaw president. The one thing. That one thing, my friends, is what the president fears most. And he fears even having votes on it take place. Now, there are people who would say that, well, if you can't pass it, why vote on it? Because the American people need to know that there are some people who see the wrong and who are willing to take a stand against the wrong. They see the injustice and they're willing to take a stand against the injustice, even when that stand may not result in what is the desired end. A noble end, a noble cause ought not be avoided simply because you can't bring it to fruition today. Ought not be. Yes, this thing that we can do is almost sacred. Yes, it requires considerable thought. Yes, this is something that we should do when we have the evidence. Well, friends, I guess the evidence is comparable to the evidence that we had on January 6th when we saw it before our very eyes. After all, this is an indictment here. The trial will take place in the Senate. So there's just this one thing that he fears. And he's very much concerned about it and what we will do. Well, I can't speak for anybody else. I don't speak for any of my colleagues who are in Congress. I don't speak for anybody without the Congress. I don't. I speak for one person. So do not now say that the Democrats are doing something. Just say Al Green. Tell the truth. Because on some issues, I believe that it is better to stand alone than not stand at all. So I'm going to take a stand. I'm going to agree with what the Senate has said. And by the way, I would invite you to read all of it because there's much more to it than what I read to you. But I'm going to agree with what the Senate has said when they said the Congress has the power to declare war. And they go on to say Congress has not yet declared war. You had no right under the Constitution to do what you did, but you do have the right to do it if the standard is your mind and your morality. And we should not assume that this applies only to international affairs. It applies to domestic affairs as well. So I'm going to do what the Senate has done as best as I can, but it'll just be me. It's not the Democratic Party. I believe that these are votes of conscience. Let your conscience be your guide, members. Don't follow my lead, members. Don't do it because I'm doing it, and I don't think that there are very many who would. Do it because you believe. If you don't believe, do not do it. I'm not asking anybody to vote for it when I bring it to the attention of Congress. I'm not asking you to. Don't vote for it if your convictions don't command that you do so. Do what you think is right. Senate has done what they believe to be correct. And I assure you, without question, I assure you of this, I will bring articles of impeachment against the President of the United States of America for taking our military to war against Venezuela, for doing it based upon some theory that in and of itself does not align with the Constitution. Some theory that if you have an indictment, you can now send in the police or the Justice Department and various officers associated. You can send them in to do something, in this case to seize the president of a country, and use the military to back them up. And I marvel at how people will say, well, they did it in Panama. If we did it in Panama, we can do it here. God, the list is endless of things that have been done that were wrong, that at some point we had to stop. It was wrong to bring folks to this country in chains. They thought it was lawful at the time, I suppose, in their minds. But we stopped it. So regardless as to what has happened prior to this second in time, I say to you, the Constitution still rules. The Constitution is above indictments. Constitution is above the things that are in the mind of a president that he believes would give him the authority to do these things. It's the Constitution that counts. And if you're going to have a Constitution, you have to make it count. It doesn't count because the words are on paper. It's how we react and behave in response to the words that are on paper. It's the Constitution that counts. And an indictment is no constitutional reason to send the military, to send a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, to send planes in large numbers, to send other military paraphernalia. Indictments don't accord you that, Mr. President. And the only way we can stop this is with impeachment. That is the only thing. Why is impeachment? Because, friends, it would say to the next Donald John Trump, we will not tolerate unconstitutional means that are justified. You can't decide that you are going to use some sort of means justifies the ends theory to go to war. He needs to be impeached, he needs to be convicted, and he needs to be removed from office. Impeached, convicted, and removed. However, if we can't do it now, that doesn't mean that the process can't start now. If we can't do it now, or sometime in the near future, it doesn't mean that we should not let the American people know that we know that what has been done is wrong. We should protect the Constitution, not allow this to happen. And the only way we can do it, while I believe that this is good and I support it, SJ Res 90, I support it. I believe it's good. But the real remedy, the remedy that can make the difference is to impeach, convict, and remove Donald John Trump from the presidency. Well, friends, this is where I stand. I don't do these things to make friends. I do them because I care about my country. I do it because I believe when I salute the flag and liberty and justice for all. I do it because I believe in government of the people, by the people, for the people. And that includes the people who have the authority to enforce the Constitution. And we are the people. We are the we and we the people. I believe we have to do whatever we can when we can. And this is something I can do and I will do. And by the way, those who say that, well, you're just taking up time. We take up more time in between votes than it takes to vote on articles of impeachment. We took up more time just recently in between votes than it takes to vote on articles of impeachment. It doesn't take up the time that prevents us from doing other things. And all of these things that people will say now in terms of why we can't do it, when we get the opportunity to by their standards, they will push all of these things aside and move forward. Well, I'll be there with you. I'm not asking you to be here with me, but I will be there with you. I will be there because it's the country, it's the Constitution, it's the republic that we must protect. I promise you, friends, I promise you, I will not be deterred. There's no need, not that anybody would, but there's no need to try to dissuade me. What happened in Venezuela was an act of war. The president doesn't have the authority to do that without consulting with the Congress. The Congress may very well conclude that you shouldn't do it. Maybe the Congress doesn't want to take over Venezuela. Maybe the Congress doesn't want to do this to provide the oil companies with greater revenues. Maybe the Congress has a different point of view. Your point of view is but one. The Congress has a right to have its point of view recognized as well. We must, I must, others can do what they may. I must take this stand. I will take this stand. This president will face articles of impeachment for his declaration of war based upon his moral standards and his mind, based upon what he thinks he can do without congressional input. I will take a stand. I will bring the articles of impeachment.
To see an ICE officer shoot a 37-year-old mother, leaving her 6-year-old an orphan. That officer needs to be arrested and prosecuted. And Mr. Speaker, I'm concerned about the human rights of people in ICE detention facilities. I visited the California City Immigration Detention Center and spoke with 47 detainees. They talked about rocks in their food. They talked about having urine and blood in their urine and not being able to see a doctor. They talked about freezing in the night because they didn't have clothes. These are human rights violations. This is not the way America acts. We need accountability to ICE, and we need to act with our values. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Ohio seek recognition? Without objection, gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I rise to applaud the House's extension of the Enhanced Affordable Care Act premium tax credits for an additional 3 years. Bravo, House. Thank God we exist. Please allow me to thank Leader Jeffries for his ability to work across the aisle to get this crucial vote passed. However, the majority leader should never have played politics with millions and millions of American people's health care. 24 million Americans face doubling of their insurance premiums. These tax credits will help them lower their costs. These families who work, small businesses, farmers, to be able to afford health insurance for their families. The majority refuse to act for America's working people. Meanwhile, just months ago, these same Republicans, leaders, question mark, gave an average tax cut of $80,000 to every millionaire in this country. Do you think they really need more? Yet when the time came to stand up for hardworking families, they ran away. They ran away. President Trump's $40 billion bailout of Argentina alone could have paid for nearly 2 years of these tax credits. So bravo, House of Representatives. What an honor it is to serve with people who care about the American people. I yield.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New Jersey seek recognition?
Speaker, I request unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today because I could not leave Washington this week without calling out House Republicans for their hypocrisy. They have been silent while DHS agents shoot Americans in broad daylight and then smear them as domestic terrorists. At the same time, they try to vanish the memory of January 6th from our collective memory, refusing to put up a plaque to honor law enforcement officers who defended them from actual domestic terrorists in this very building. They won't hold this administration accountable because it would make them feel as unsafe as many Americans feel right now. They all saw what happened when Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of Trump's staunchest supporters, opposed the president, and doing so saw her and her family's safety threatened. This is the culture of fear that this president has created and which House Republicans have been complicit in. The American people deserve better, and I will keep coming down here until House Republicans finally speak up for the American people and hold this administration accountable. I yield back.
Gentlewoman from California, for what purpose does gentlewoman from California seek recognition? Without objection, gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to speak about betrayal. Nearly 14,000 veterans who serve this nation will sleep unsheltered tonight, not in beds, on concrete, and in cars and under bridges. 37 million American children depend on Medicaid for their health care. And this Congress just signed $1 trillion in cuts to that lifeline. 12 million Americans will lose their health insurance, the largest rollback of health care in American history. Meanwhile, the Pentagon just failed its 8th consecutive audit. There are over $4 trillion in assets that they cannot account for. The only federal agency who's failed ever to pass an audit, not one. But we've got money for war, but we can't feed the poor. We refuse to fully fund cancer research. We refuse to house low-income elders in their final years, and we refuse to shelter the very soldiers we sent to die in wars that we keep funding. This is a confession of our values. And I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from New Mexico seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask for unanimous consent to address the House and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, as they say, follow the money. Invading a foreign country, stealing their oil, extortion, violence, giveaways to corporate America, American oil and gas companies, and yes, Trump donors. What is going on here? Because today, Donald Trump will convene the CEOs of some of the largest oil and gas companies in America, and the same individuals who promised to raise $1 billion in campaign donations for him when he was a candidate. In fact, this week I was shocked to learn that the White House and the president are not only planning to sell the oil of Venezuela, but to place it in foreign bank accounts that only the president controls. So we are asking, what is going on here, endangering the lives of our service members, unauthorized use of the military, extorting foreign countries, invading foreign countries and taking their leaders, and yes, stealing their resources. So I will say this to you, Mr. President, we are watching, we will follow the money, and we will hold you to account. I yield back.
Members are reminded to address their remarks to the chair. Under the Speaker's announced policy of January 3rd, 2025, the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Green, is recognized for 60 minutes as the designee of the minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and still I rise. And still I rise, a liberated, unbought, unbossed, unafraid Democrat. And still I rise. And I rise today because I have grave and great concern for the American people. I fear for the lives of the American people. And I do so, Mr. Speaker, because if the